Shalom, 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 shalom. This is Walking Through the Scripts. We in Genesis chapter 2. Genesis chapter 2. And it reads, Thus the heavens and the earth and all the host of them were finished. And on the seventh day, Yah ended his work, which he had done. And he rested on the seventh day from all his work, which he had done. Then Yah blessed the seventh day and sanctified it, because in it he rested from all his work, which Yah had created and made. So, this seventh day, which is the Sabbath day, because the first day of the week is what we call Sunday. And Yah blessed that day and sanctified it. He set it apart. So this is why we all should be keeping the Sabbath or the Shabbat day. Verse 4, this is the history of the heavens and the earth when they were created in the day that Yah made the earth and the heavens, before any plant of the field was in the earth, and before any herb of the field had grown. For Yah had not caused it to rain on the earth, and there was no man to till the ground. If we look at verse 4, it says, this is the history of the heavens and the earth when they were created. Now, growing up, we went to school, and a lot of times they told us that there was a Big Bang theory, or the planets and the universe and the galaxy is 1 trillion years old, and such billion years old, and it just kind of came from a bang or it came from nothing. Nah, Yah created. That's what took place. Yah created. And he placed what they said was in outer space inside the firmaments. Matter of fact, they taught us that the earth revolves around the sun. But as we look in the scripture, the earth was here before the sun. So how could it revolve around it? They told us the earth was like a globe. That's not it either. The earth would be more, not like flat, but close to that, right? So we start to have to re-educate ourselves according to the Most High's word and not according to man and their philosophies. Because a lot of men, especially those that were in power, were influenced by these fallen angels, these unclean spirits, these demonic forces. Verse 6, but a mist went up from the earth and watered the whole face of the ground. It had not rained yet, but a mist came up and watered the ground. For Yah formed man of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living being. So this is man's makeup. You have the dust of the ground. Yah blew life in him, and he became a living being or a living soul. So man is a being, or man is a soul, with the dirt, which is the body, and Yah's breath, which is the spirit, which is the life. So when you reverse it, when man dies or when he goes to rest, the body goes back to the ground and Yah's spirit goes back to him. And man is no longer a living being or a living soul, but he ceases. He's at rest until the resurrection. Verse 8. Yahuwah planted a garden eastward in Eden, and there he put the man whom he had formed. And out of the ground Yah made every tree grow that is pleasant to the sight and good for food. The tree of life was also in the midst of the garden, and the tree of knowledge of good and evil. So you had the tree of life and the tree of knowledge of good and evil. We see another separation right here. What is the separation? Knowledge of good and knowledge of evil. Okay? We battle those things today. So we really have to make decisions. What am I eating off of? Am I eating good knowledge or evil knowledge? Because there's two separate knowledges. Man can seek to build knowledge that brings life, or he can seek knowledge to tear down, right? You can seek knowledge on how can I help people out of trouble, or you can seek knowledge on how to cause trouble. All right. Verse 10, now a river went out of Eden to water the garden, and from there it parted and became 4 riverheads. The name of the first is the Pishon. It is the one which skirts the whole land of Havilah, where there's gold, and the gold of that land is good. Bdellium and the onyx stone are there. The name of the second river is the Gihon. It is the one which goes around the whole land of Cush, which we call Ethiopia today. The name of the third river is the Hiddekel. It is the one which goes toward the east of Assyria. And the fourth river is the river Euphrates, which there's a prophecy that talks about the river Euphrates will be drying up. And if you go and you Google right now, the river Euphrates, you see it's almost dry. Then Yah took the man and put him in the Garden of Eden to tend and keep it. So Adam was not created in the garden. Adam was created outside and brought to Eden, brought to the place where Yah would have him do his work. And there's a message in that. Yah will build you up over here. And once he molds you in the way that he wants you, now he can place you where you can be used. Sometimes we're saying, well, what's my purpose? Or why don't I feel like Yah is using me? It's because you're getting in the way of the molding process. Or sometimes Yah got such a great work that he's going to have you do that it takes a little more time. We do not want to get in the way or slow the process down. How do we do that? Yah's trying to teach us lessons and we keep failing the tests because of our own desires, because of our own appetites. But once we start to pass these tests, once we start to get self-control over these appetites, now he can take you and move you to Eden. He can take you and move you to the place of purpose where you can now do the work that he's calling you to do. Hallelujah. Let's look at this. Verse 15, then Yah took the man and put him in the Garden of Eden to tend and keep it. And Yah commanded the man, saying, of every tree of the garden you may freely eat, but of the tree of knowledge and good, the knowledge of good and evil you shall not eat, for in the day that you eat of it you shall surely die. So now we're getting the first decision that man is faced with. Yah is saying, you can have all of this, but if you touch this, you will surely die, right? You will surely die. You're going to cause a punishment to come upon yourself, a judgment. Now, Yah is so fair that he's telling the man ahead of time. He didn't allow the man to just go and make the decision and then just give him a consequence. No, Yah warned him. And he does the same thing with us. Yah puts up the red flags before you get in that relationship, before you go out that night, before you go make this decision and that decision, before you spend that money on this, and that. He'll give you them red flags. He'll show you, okay, don't do that. And if you do that, this is what comes. And sometimes we bump our heads so much. That's that molding process. And until we learn, he can't take us to Eden. He can't take us to where we can serve and work and be of some real use and be in our destiny, in line with our purpose. right? So we really have to look and say, okay, what decisions is Yah giving me? And have I been making the right decisions? Verse 18, and Yah said, it is not good that man should be alone. I will make him a helper comparable to him. So this was the role. You had the man that was being molded to be placed in his position to do Yah's work. And then you had the woman, right, that we're going to read about to come and help him in the work that Yah was calling him to do. Help, right? So the woman was called to be a helper, not a hindrance. She was called to be a wife, not a knife, okay? Out of the, oh, watch this. And it says comparable to him, right? As we get further into the scriptures later on down, way later on, it says, don't be unequally yoked. It also says, how can two walk together unless they agree? She was in line and step with him originally. She was comparable to him. They was on the same playing field. They was walking in the same direction. Verse 19, out of the ground, Yah formed every beast of the field and every bird of the air and brought them to Adam to see what he would call them. And whatever Adam called, each living creature, that was his name. See, Adam had creativity in him because he was made in the image of Yah. He had intelligence in him because he was made in the image of Yah. He had a memory on him because he was made in the image of Yah. But for Adam, there was not found a helper comparable to him. And Yah caused a deep sleep to fall on Adam, and he slept. He took one of his ribs and closed up the flesh in its place. Then the rib, which Yah had taken from the man, he made into a womb man, and he brought her to the man. And Adam said, this is now bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, because she was taken out of man. Therefore, a man shall leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife, and they shall become one flesh, because this man is missing a part of himself. So now when he is joined, they become back what was once taken, which is one flesh, right? One flesh. They're supposed to walk in the same direction. They're supposed to be part of the same mission, right? That is now a solid foundation. And they were both naked, the man and his wife, and were not ashamed. Not only they were naked in body, right? They were naked from evil. They were naked from sin. They was naked from stress. They was naked from anxiety. They was naked from depression. They was naked from anger, resentment, lack of forgiveness, right? Emotional damage, emotional scar. They had none of that. They weren't clothed with none of that, right? They were bare away from that. They were free away from that. Now, as we go further along, we're going to see that they did not stay naked. And with that, I'm going to say shalom.